heavy, fella. Look here.
Stand by.
One for C-Lab, two for Troy Eagle, three for Wolverine to round out the trio. In this episode, everybody dies.
Broadcasting live from inside the power band, this is The Blah. I'm your, I guess I'm your host, Jarhiga, joined by my super intrepid friend, Slave 2.
What up? How you guys doing?
Kev is not with us tonight because he's lame.
Tonight we're talking about the new Ninja Turtles, dudes. It's one that we've been considering. I think we talked about it coming out like 6 fucking years ago and then never got around to it. So
Yeah, High Lev.
Seth Rogen produced and wrote and is Rocksteady or Bebop or whichever one he is. Which one is he?
He is Bebop.
I like how you can be like, he's Bebop. And I'm like, I still don't know whether he's the Warthog or not because I don't remember which one was which, you know? I don't know. I don't know if that's a Ninja Turtle death. Like only true
Bebop
fans
and
know.
Rocksteady, yeah.
Yeah, only true fans know which one's a freaking Warthog. I don't fucking know.
I mean, I knew when I was 15, you know.
There you go. Yeah.
Forgive me for being a little out of practice, right?
A little rusty. Trombone. Yeah, same, dude. Like, dude, I never even considered that the Price is Right song should be called the Rusty Trombone. So, anyways, the Turtles movie, dude, like, it's, I hadn't considered when I said, hey, let's do the Turtles movie, that this was a reboot origin story, which are kind of like massively hated things in the Higo household. So I don't know how things went for you, but
I was a little like, okay, so we're doing this again. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
The franchise itself, like the IP, the original Turtle shit was so just unique back in the day. The like old school comic stuff, which I didn't get exposed to until a little bit later. Mm-hmm. Like the cartoon, my little cousins were really into, and so I saw a million of them. I was into them to a pretty reasonable degree as well, and then all of the Muppety movies, which were like great and horrible, and Vanilla Ice, and like there's a lot of lore here. So. Oh
yeah, the OG Turtle movies with the rubber suits were fucking great.
Yeah,
they were better than the Michael Bay.
I don't know. And that was back when it was just like a desert wasteland of stuff. Yeah, exactly. So I like this movie. I mean, I took my kid, my little dude. I took him. He was, let's see, this was 2023. So he would have been like just turning 5-ish. So he was like a little young for it, but I think that's like when it's most exciting for a kid, like he was a little scared, and like hold my hand and stuff when like Crazy Mutant Ice Cube was yelling at people and stuff, but he really enjoyed it, and like getting out of the theater, he was like, that was so cool, so like I think that like really paints it in a positive light for me, but I think they did a solid job,
Yeah, well, I think it's got appeal. Like it's got something. It's something you can watch with your kids. I think I certainly enjoyed the hell out of it. Snaps and I watched it, and we were both like really pleasantly surprised. Like,
yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
It had the right stuff. Like the humor was on point. The animation was beautiful. Great cast, great cameos. Like the story was, outside of being like the origin story, like it wasn't like a slog to get through the origin, like it was fine. And, like I kind of enjoyed that there was no Shreddy Krueger in this one.
Yeah, only like over the shoulder sizzle, fucking mid roll, whatever bullshit.
Little, yeah. You stayed for that stinger. If you stay for the stinger, you get a little shredder, but
you get a little stung.
Yeah, it was. I'm just going to go ahead and walk right into it. Delightful.
It was though. Like I think when you said pleasantly surprised, like
it really was though.
That's it. I was pleasantly surprised. Like it was fun. I don't know. Seeing it in the theater, like it looked more like the Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Man on the big screen in the dark where the resolution wasn't like really, really crispy. So seeing it on the small screen, the stylistic kind of smudged nature of the animation really I noticed for the first time, and so that was really interesting. And I agree, I really like the style. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't a direct lift of Spider-Man, but it had its own kind of flavor and kind of was really imperfect. There's lots of really weird kind of stuff going on with the animation, which I liked. I didn't notice that it was so smudgy, and like I kind of I liked that it was kind of like distorted. And I guess they say, you know, the making of all the shit, they were saying they wanted to make it look like it was like a teenager's sketches in a notebook and stuff. But I kind of feel like it was a little bit different than that, where, you know, a lot of the humans in the background had like really messed up, asymmetric, smudged faces and stuff, which I don't know. It really lent itself to the kind of mutant nature of the films. It wasn't quite as stylized as Spider-Man, but it had but it was in its own kind of turtly way. You know what I mean? So I really like the style. It's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of similar. I mean, a different style. Like it almost looked like claymation to me.
Yeah, totally, dude.
You know, like it just had this kind of like it had that kind of a feel, but like with the like same kind of like super pastel-y bright like color palette of like the Spider-Verse stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It looked fucking dynamite on the new OLED TV. Like I
bet it did, yeah.
It looked terrific. Yeah, it was great.
Animation is just so good on big home TVs nowadays. This style, at least,
It really is. Like cartoons are my favorite.
they just bang on the big TV, dude. You don't end up with that. Like, I think the issue that I have had with TVs that are not set up to my visual tastes is how often we talked about this. I think in covering Thor Ragnarok, where the first time I saw Ragnarok was at a buddy's house. And he had his TV like dialed for like fucking, I must have had like a soap opera setting because it looked so real that I just like, I couldn't fucking, it was like, I actually dislike this movie. And so I feel like sometimes like the movies look like shit if it's not on a TV that's set up properly, or if it's just set up to the person's taste that's not my taste. But like animation, it's like you kind of can't lose on a big TV, like, you know, at home. So it's super appealing to watch animation on those TVs.
Yeah. Just no, in general, like the new TV we got, like just anything animated is, I mean, everything looks great, but animation, you know, on like a really bright OLED panel just looks tits.
I'm jealous. Like the style's cool. I have nothing against it. I really enjoy it and think it, I don't know, it's cherry on top in a way. The biggest strength for me that a lot of neckbeards maybe didn't feel that way is like, I love how teenage these kids are, dude. You know, like I really, really liked how fucking dumbass teenagery they were. I thought it really was just like such a mega good decision, like a mega strength of the flick.
Yeah, absolutely. You had mentioned that when we were talking about doing it, and I was like, oh, how's that going to pan out? And I was pleasantly surprised. Like they got great. You know, I don't know if I've seen any of them in anything ever, but they were terrific. All the kids.
It just, I don't know. It's the like Steve Buscemi, hello fellow kids kind of thing so often, you know, in movies and stuff where it's like high school drama with 23-year-old cast, you know, and like fine, whatever. Yep. But these guys were just such dumbass teenagers, you know, like they're like cutting watermelons and throwing stars and like just, they're like giving each other mad shit, just like exactly what you do, you know. And I think like one scene in particular, like they're trying to put on a show for April and get her to film it, and they're like doing the robot and being idiots, and she's like, you guys are being idiots, and they just like pause and then they just do it again, you know. It's exactly what like a 15-year-old does, you know. Like, yeah, maybe it's nostalgia to being such a dumbass. Like I'm not nostalgic for, I don't want to go back in fucking time and live those years again, because of, you know, everybody's teenagers were pretty shit, I think. But it also had like a little glimmer of like, oh yeah, I remember having no cares in the world and just like thinking about where I'm going to get my next pizza, you know? So, yeah. You know, I don't know. It's just charming as fuck. It's
pretty dope.
And the kids did a good fucking job. Like I looked at their IMDb's and don't know any of them. So like, I hope they Stranger Things kids out and get tons of work because they were really, really charming.
They were great. I was psyched looking at the cast to see that a bunch of like, well-known people like, Giancarlo Esposito, for example.
Yeah, totally.
Who's really only got a bit part in this. Like, I was like, oh, well, that's cool. There's like a great cast otherwise. But like, they brought it and they handled it. And like, I wasn't like, as soon as the movie started going, I wasn't worried about, any of the other cast. I was like, oh no, these guys are great.
Yeah. That establishes confidence pretty quickly.
Yeah. I thought Jackie Chan was a fucking terrific choice for Splinter. It was like a really different take, but like awesome. Perfect.
Yeah. There's just, I don't know, like his English has always been not great. And so it really, like, to your point, like, it added a certain type of charm to it. Because like Jackie Chan, it's just fucking Jackie Chan, dude. Dude's a legend. And they clearly leaned heavily on the Jackie Chan isms in terms of, him being prop fighting and all kinds of stuff later, but like the vocal stuff was such an interesting additional piece, because like, you get like all the Rush Hours, and he, doesn't have a ton of dialogue in a lot of those movies to my memory. So I like that he had so much dialogue here because he did, it just, I don't know. It was just, again, it's kind of a nostalgia bomb for Jackie Chan. It made me want to like do like Police Story or like a Jackie Chan movie soon or something,
That would be cool. Yeah, definitely. No, he's fucking great. I really liked this take on Splinter. I really liked, like I don't know, when they're like going back and talking about like how they got started, et cetera. And they're like, you have like middle-aged, like mustachioed Splinter with like big poofy hair. Like, I don't know. It was just great.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
Yeah. Totally, man. And like, it seems like so often the Splinter style of character, or maybe just the whole franchise, leans heavily on the New York-isms, And it's like Splinter here was New York, but he wasn't stereotypical New York, And I like that. He wasn't like, can't you see I'm walking here style of a Splinter. He was such a fresh take on Splinter. So yeah, I'm totally with you. And dude, his like 80s fro was fucking glorious. And the fact that he fell in love with like this disgusting stink bug. And it's like, it's so funny, dude. And then like the ham-handed parent shit too, where he's like, kids, it's emergency. And they come home and he's like, it's a prom party. And they're just like, all right, dad, like, it's just, I don't know. The like ham-fisted parenting shit was, with Jackie Chan doing the talking, was just fucking great, man. Because the love came through. You can tell he loves these guys, and like, I mean, I know I'm jumping around like a motherfucker, but like the whole milking joke getting up to paying off at the end, dude. Like, it's just so dumb, and I love the fucking shit out of it. They're gonna milk you.
Have nipples. How are you?
How would we even? And then at the end, they just, oh god damn! It's like, I told you. It's just so silly, man. I love it.
That was the joke, right? Like that was the like. They kept pulling it up through the entire thing, and then lo and behold, they get milked.
Turns out, yeah, it's just
spoiler alert.
But it's like such a classic trope of like the ham-fisted parent does actually know best, like he's not talking out of his ass, and like, I don't know. There's something said for the trope of the parent knows best, but also grows, and the kids, are growing too. Like there's the classic, arc kind of stuff. Because like the story, really, it's kind of the same old, like jokes aside, it's the same style of origin, the same style of reboot. Like there's not much that's like radically outside of the norm, but it's the way they do it all that kind of makes it, I don't know, have a bit of special sauce to it. Do you know what I'm driving at?
Yeah. The presentation is where it's at. Although they did tweak a couple of things. I don't recall their, like Giancarlo Esposito's character. I don't recall their I don't recall there being a character that's like responsible for the ooze. I may be walking right into a death trap right now, but I don't, or at least I don't remember it being talked about a lot in any of the, turtle content I've consumed in the past.
I'm so rusty with it, but my understanding is Baxter Stockman turns into the Superfly character, and they separated it here. But I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't recall the origin of the ooze. I think we're both dead. Like I'm just going to volunteer us both to die because it's probably some
I'm just walking. I'm just wading into the electrified water now at this point. Yeah,
that's it. I don't recall the ooze being overly explained, and if it was probably like the alien race Krang shit, but I don't remember. But I tend to. It sounded like you were going with the kind of like simplicity of the presentation, maybe there, or was that because like I was down with the kind of simplicity of that opening. What were you driving at with that in terms of presentation?
No, I mean it's like this. We've seen this story
a billion
numerous times. Just like we've seen the Batman story a billion times, or the Superman story a billion times, or the Spider-Man story a billion times. I'm exaggerating, hyperbole, of course, not a billion, but it feels like it sometimes.
Kind of.
It often feels like it. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the presentation that makes this tolerable. It's the little tweaks they've done.
Yeah, I mean,
to make it pop. I don't know. The only other thing I can think of that was different would be wasn't Splinter like Freddy Krueger's pet, and that was how he learned kung fu.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, they definitely did some hard rebooting of some of that, and like, I don't know. I'm not as invested in the IP. If it was Star Wars, I'd probably be like, meh, but like whatever,
I'm fine. I think at this point, it's like if it's good,
that's
what you're doing is good
and
fun, and it's interesting. I don't care if you like take some creative license with it. I'm not going to freak out.
I'm with you, man. Like,
but wait, they didn't learn kung fu from movies,
Yeah, and I this is well trodden ground on the show and in general, but like, I'm so on the motorcycle of just like do what you want to do, man, and either it's enjoyed or not. And like, I remember at the time that 300 came out, I was really into the fact that it was so close to the comic. And now looking back on it a decade later, I actually don't even particularly appreciate that it's so close to it anymore. So like I think I'm on the other side. The pendulum has swung the other way where like I'm just like, just take creative license and make a good fucking thing, please. And like if it sucks, it sucks. Like okay, take a swing, man. Fucking whatever. Because I definitely saw this movie. I hate this movie YouTube videos, and it was like the origin of it, and it was like, okay, man, like you love this IP, but like, come on, dude, like it's a fun movie. In terms of the like presentation, I find it hard to put my finger on it. Like the Spider-Man, Spiderverse, and the Tom Holland Spider-Man, I feel like both have a lot of heart. And there's a lot of like, I don't know if it's character growth, but they just have a lot of heart. And I feel like this has a lot of heart too. And so that doesn't really explain why it's so enjoyable, but it's certainly a big piece of it. In terms of the story itself, like there's nothing, I guess like the only thing that's there, which is kind of like a second or whatever watch style realization, is them fighting other mutants while trying to be accepted by the world. They run into these mutants, and it's the only time that they have been in the presence of something like them. So they're like conflicted, but that doesn't really come across as like a huge thread. It's like a subtlety that adds flavor. And so it's like all of these subtleties add up to enjoyment. It's hard to put a finger on like any one thing other than the teenaginess of the actors and the style being kind of visually appealing. Like I really struggle to put my finger on anything else as opposed to just a collection of things that add up to an awesome experience. Maybe, I don't know.
I think that's more or less it, outside of the writing and like the kids were good, but the kids wouldn't have been as good if they didn't have like the in jokes, etc. just right,
Yeah.
So
And there
I don't
was
know.
some visual feastiness to like the fighting and stuff as well, and the general movie too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe another piece
Yeah.
is like the cartoon in the 90s we all watched, or I assume you did. I certainly did, because it was what was on fucking TV. You didn't have much choice what was on. So you'd watch the shit out of it. And like it was very basic, kind of like the X-Men animated series, not like the Batman animated series, which was super stylized, but like the animation styles of these types of things were pretty basic.
Yeah.
And so to see it elevated a bit here made me feel like it's like they're treating this well. They're taking the thing and they're treating it well. Because I feel like if you just snapped your fingers and this was the 80s animation style, it would maybe be serviceable. But to your point, like maybe it just would have been like whatever. So that's a piece of it too, I think.
It might be the best visual presentation of the Turtles that I've seen on the big screen,
I would say so.
Yeah.
Considering we did the one with
so,
Megan
sure.
Fox or whatever, like that can go fuck itself.
Oh God, that was just the fucking Bay Turtle shit was just
how not to
awful.
handle it.
Just so bad. And they made more than one in that, didn't they? Didn't they make at least a couple?
Sure. I mean, like if again, snap your fingers and it's in that style here. I don't know. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much. The comic writing was there and the cast brought it, but I don't know, man. I think this is the best. I mean, the classic canonical, thing is like the best presentation of this is the original black and white handful of comics, and then everything else is never going to be as good as how fucking cool they were. And it's like, yeah, cool. In terms of live action, whether animated or in terms of moving pictures, whether animated or live action, like I think I agree. This is the best presentation.
It would be interesting to see something in the style of the OG comics.
Totally. And there were definitely call outs here, like there were moments here where they directly called out to the cover of some of them and stuff. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, something with more of that kind of a tone, and that'd be interesting for sure. But this is good. I enjoyed this. I mean, that is definitely the OG is definitely the best presentation. Like the original comics, the black and white comics is the best. But this, I'll get on with this for being something kind of in between and being an updated version of like the rubber suit movie.
Jeez, yeah.
And I loved the rubber suit movie. Like
they were fun at the time.
They were fun.
The first one I think probably holds up, but the rest of them probably, it's like the Batman movie.
Yeah, probably not. But definitely the first one. I went and saw the first one in the theater, so
yeah, totally.
And I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Definitely, I would have definitely seen it in the theater.
It felt right, and then you have like the Bayverse version where like they're super muscly and they have like noses and like these big weird square teeth and it's all CG'd up and they're like trying to make it too realistic and it falls into like the uncanny valley and it's just fucking awful. So I don't know. I think animation may be the best possible realm for this to live.
Yeah.
And this is definitely, I don't know. It's a huge pillar. It's a cornerstone of the movie for me is the animation style. I really enjoyed it.
Definitely. And like Spiderverse also had that like iconic approach to it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like watching it's not a genre, but it's like a birth of a style where you have like, Spider-Verse and this and maybe like an Everything Everywhere All at Once, like franticness and some visuals. And there's just, I really appreciate that there are a variety of things in the space, whether animated or not, that are like on this kind of line of thought. And I just have a lot of time for it. And I guess like technologically you can make a Spider-Verse in less than 10 years, maybe you can do it faster in terms of rendering and like putting it together. And it's like super visually rich.
Yeah.
Because it goes a long way, man. It goes a long way.
I want to pick up on the word frenetic, and it's true. Like there's like all these like little visual jokes constantly going on in these movies, like these little things that are happening that are like kind of rapid fire. Like you're like before you're before you're finished enjoying one thing, you're unable to recover before you're being like exposed to something else. But it's not fatiguing, it's somehow
engaging.
Like, just super entertaining. All the, the sort of fire hose of just shit going on and little, like visual jokes and just cool shit,
Yeah, I totally agree. And like it can, to your point, it can be overdone and turned into like a fucking bunch of TikTok videos, and that's not the case in movies like this or Everything Everywhere or Spiderverse. It's I don't know. It's the like playing games with little man. He's just learning how to play, So like right now we're playing Breath of the Wild Zelda. And we're about to beat it. Like I beat it back in the day, and like he and I are doing it together. Like I kind of do some of the puzzly stuff, and he's actually doing the boss fight stuff. So he's actually getting some skill in this in it, and like seeing a 5-year-old version of me play games, because I remember like playing Nintendo when I was 5, and sucking or whatever, but you get good at it, and you're like get to level fucking 8-2 in Mario Brothers, and die a million times like everybody else did, and like. There was no forgiveness in those games for a kid. Like you just either did it or you fucking grinded. You know what I mean? But like nowadays, the game structures, especially Nintendo game structures, are like the base game is reasonably easy, and if you want a harder thing, you have to collect all the stars or you have to 100% the game, and that's where the like skill stuff is. And I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like that tiered approach to how you can get as involved as you want to is kind of similar here, where like a kid with he had no awareness of turtles, and like he could watch the movie and enjoy the action and the visual feasting and the silliness. And then, someone like us could pick up on these things that are being shown to us and can get the call outs and the little dopamine hit of like the fan service recognition stuff. And so it's like you can get as deep into it as you want. And if you want to watch it 5 times, you'll get even deeper into it. And so you can kind of 100% it, the movie, or you can kind of like get through it on a normal. And it kind of feels like there's some parallels there, and I agree they didn't overdo it, but I like that you can, like, this is definitely a rewatchable movie just to kind of see what you missed the first time around,
Yeah. I'm sure I did. Miss some stuff.
Yeah, sure.
For sure. But yeah, that makes sense. That tracks that idea of, you notice what you notice. It's like a good comedy movie always has jokes that you missed because they're totally sandwiched in between, So this is it's like that kind of, it's that kind of thing, but like with a lot of visual stuff and a lot of dialogue and stuff. So
yeah,
it was not on my radar. It wasn't something I'd heard much about, but I was like floored by it. Like it was really fucking good. It was really entertaining, really fun.
I kind of felt that same way about Spiderverse when it first came out. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, that looks definitely cool. And then I was like totally floored by it. I think the original Spiderverse hit me way harder than this did, but like that doesn't take anything away from this,
No. I mean, you've already seen Spiderverse, so this is like a similar
that's
kind of a thing, I guess. A similar bag, but that doesn't. That's like the first time you saw The Matrix. Watching the Spiderverse.
There's no second time. There's
no second time seeing that. But this, I like that there's more of this kind of content coming out.
Yeah,
and I think this is like a really good place for the Turtles to live.
Totally. And like, it's impressive that an origin story can be entertaining at all at this stage. I'm so over that formula, but.
No, I definitely rolled my eyes when like we started going down that road with the movie, and like it didn't stick. Like my grumpiness over the origin didn't stick. Like I was like, okay, it's just different enough, or they went into just different kind of, they went into enough detail or different details about it that it wasn't a slog. And a lot of that I think was Jackie Chan and going into, I mean, my version of the story, it was always like, yeah, but they were in the sewer and they got the ooze on them, and then they, Splinter found them, and it's very similar here, but at least you get a little preamble.
Yeah, and like you said, it's just different enough to keep the interest there to get through that 10-minute sequence of the film or whatever.
Yeah. Then you're up to business as usual.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun seeing them get April's scooter, or go into the chop shop and beat up all those dudes for the first time, and sort of be
and you get to be there for fly on the wall, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. You get to be there when they're sort of discovering how actually badass they are.
It's the I know kung fu moment for sure. Yeah,
that was cool.
That was cool. Yeah, and I guess I like the tease too, where it looks like they're going to go and do that when they're out and about, because they're all like, we're going to go and do the thing. And then they get loaves of bread and eggs and shit. And you're like, oh, okay, that's funny. And then they have the actual garage fight,
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it just lines up with the kid thing where you go and build a fort and you pretend you're fucking G.I. Joe or whatever. They're on the roof and they're like, dude, we got all this ninja shit. And they're cutting watermelons and shit. They're not actually they don't know actually how to fight because they never actually fought. I kind of I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that they're playing live action Fruit Ninja right before that.
Totally. And I guess, the other thing too, that hyped me for this movie is I saw that it was coming out just by trolling the internet for things that are coming out for kids or just whatever. And the trailer came out. And so I don't do trailers generally. I would say 98% of movies, I just go in completely cold just to try and hit that delight zone. But here with Ethan, I was just like, dude, I got something I want to show you, because it was visually striking as a trailer, and I was like, dude, you need to see this. You remember the Ninja Turtles that I was talking to you about, or the toys that we saw? And he's like, yeah. He's like, check this out, this movie's coming out. And it was 4 months before the movie came out, and he was just like, holy shit, so we watched that trailer every day, 3 times a day. He's like, dude, can we watch the trailer again? And in the trailer, they're on the roof for a moment, and at one stage, one of them's like, dude, can we throw the throwing stars at the watermelon? And one of them was just this teenage realization of the dumb shit we can do. And it just crystallizes that teenageosity, where you're just like, oh my God, these fucking knuckleheads, and it just watching it 150 times, you see all of the nuances of the trailer. And I was just so hyped for how fucking teenage they were. And I think that was an occasion where I know the material, so I'm not spoiling anything, and the trailer gets me hyped about that flavor of it. And just those fucking kids just shooting video of themselves on the roof is just the most teenagery shit ever. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And they go straight to and then like you said, they go straight to the garage thing, and I think the April stuff is cool too, they leaned in a little bit to the kind of infatuation with April thing, because she was just, this is kind of what I mean when I say this, but she was kind of the Frank Frazetta buxom, scantily clad nothing burger in the original kind of series or whatever. It was kind of titillating, no pun intended, and that wasn't the case here, but it was the case for the Turtles. I don't know, I kind of feel like it was more realistically handled here, despite the fact that it's a movie about mutant turtles, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was interesting to see a different take on April in general, visually, and the fact that she's still a high school student.
Yeah,
and
I like that, I guess. Yeah,
it kind of fits. It fits a little better, I think, with the turtles themselves being at the age that they're at, and the fact that they get along, and she's a little bit of an outcast, and I like all that stuff. I thought that was, a good minor change to the character to tweak it in a direction that works a little better, at least in this movie, I think.
It's better balanced, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's she's such a gumshoe fucking Pulitzer Prize winning reporter in the other stuff, to my memory, that it was nice that she wasn't.
Yeah, she's a reporter. She wears a yellow jacket. She's got red hair, and she's got big boobs.
Yeah, she unzips her jacket. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a ton of, depth other than like she's somebody that they can, count on,
Yeah.
work with.
The puke girl
etc.
thing, man, I really enjoyed that little sequence.
I thought it was funny, but I was eating right at that moment. And I was like,
fair enough.
They kept like running the joke, like they're like, and then they remixed it. And I was like, oh no, come on.
Yeah, they did the lightsaber kid to you there, bro. Yeah, you got lightsaber kidded. I don't know, man. It's just like that moment of vulnerability where they're like, well, at least I'm not puke girl. And they're like, well, no, maybe it's puke girl. And he's like, oh, you're a puke girl. I don't know, dude. Leonardo and their fucking names. God damn, dude. I don't know. It's like a high school style movie, a high school style kung fu movie, like it's got a lot going for it. Have you ever heard of The Bear, the show, the new ish FX show? It's like a cooking show. Yeah. I just started watching that. I'm like a couple seasons in, and I'm glad that I've been watching that because the kind of other lead in that is April here. So Io Edebiri or whatever. Edebiri is April. I totally recognized her voice on this watch through. So, because it's an interesting show. Have you seen that one?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
I've got a shit ton of stuff on my plate. And
I would recommend it for people that like cooking shit and drama shit, but like, I'm not sure if it's your vibe, but might be.
I'm sure it's great. I just like
a lot of screaming. A lot of screaming.
I don't, if you've spent any time working in a restaurant, like I don't have a lot of desire for that type of drama.
Sure. To relive that, the trauma of it. I'm with you, man.
I just don't, it's just like a stress fest for the entire night and everybody's like at each other's throats.
Yep.
And then like at the end of the night, it's like the biggest, like, fake love fest in the world. Like, bro, you were so good tonight. Man, you really had my back. Thanks, man. I'm sorry I was an asshole earlier, but I really did too much coke before my shift.
Fire.
So I did way too much blow before my shift, and I just I was just like I was really like just anxious and on edge.
It was all fucked up. Yeah, no doubt. I don't miss that. But it was, it was fun at the time, doing lots of drugs and serving people food, screaming at people. And it was horrible at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was great, man. She's really good in that. And I didn't know of her when I saw this in the theater. I hadn't, so it was kind of cool to get that little connection because she's super talented, man. To, bring it to that character in the way that, like you said, Esposito and Ice Cube and Paul Rudd. Fucking Paul Rudd. I love Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd
as Mondo Gecko.
Oh my god, he was so Paul Rudd. Like it was like exactly like his character from Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah, sure. Oh man, dude.
Hey man, I'm Kunu.
I love how him and Mikey were just like best bros, dude. It was great.
Yeah,
so good. I remember what I was gonna say that lines up with this, which was like when we were talking about why this works and the presentation. I think it would have worked fine, but I'm really kind of glad that they didn't have another Death Star. Like, I'm really glad that this wasn't a Shredder movie, and it was supposed to be. I think they had the whole thing written up as a Shredder movie, and then reasonably late in the creative process. Not super late to my understanding, but like late enough where it was like a pretty big change. They changed it. And I think it was a really fucking good choice, dude. Like I am so tired of there's another Death Stars on reboots and on this type of thing that like, yeah, I think that's a huge piece to go along with the cast and go along with the visual style is that it's not a fucking another Death Star.
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of waiting for Shreddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Mark 5 Shreddy Krueger to show up. And I was just happy that he didn't. Like, if they were going to do the origin story, I thought it was great that they just left that out. Because, we don't need to see another boss battle with Shreddy Krueger immediately.
And no Krang really, other than obviously, Maya Rudolph's character having some Krang sunglasses and kind of tendencies and stuff. But there's like just enough of a call out, but like it just doesn't need to be like every fucking episode of the animated series was like Krang and Shreddy, I just don't need to see
everyone, every single
one. No Foot Clan, which I kind of like. I love the Foot Clan. Don't get me wrong. Like everyone likes a purple shirt, the red shirt equivalent, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm actually like, okay, now I have an appetite for that if there's going to be a second movie, so.
And it looks like it's in production. So like, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. They've teed it up nicely, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a piece. Like that was something that came to mind that I think really helps you get through another origin story. And I'm totally with you. It's like it's kind of like that. Like it's like a mini ensemble piece. Like the culmination of Superfly's family kind of turning on him. They're just like, yeah, we don't want to kill everybody. Like he's like, okay, and then he ends up, solo missioning with the crazy, Godzilla shit at the end. So,
well, what did you think about that? That was, I mean. It was stupid, but it was like...
It was so dumb, but like it makes sense. Like there needs to be a boss battle, and...
Yeah.
In the theater, I'll say like in the theater, it played fine, because you're like, you're looking at this feast and it's the whole screen and you're like, oh yeah, right on. And like, maybe it's just like in this rewatch, like the moment where Mondo Gecko's like, so if it turns animals into mutants and it goes into the water, what? And then it's like the giant thing under the water. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So like, it was fine. It's dumb as shit. Don't get me wrong. But it kind of fit too,
It was, I could hear like Seth Rogen like he's gonna have like horses for his legs and he's gonna have a giraffe on his face and his body's gonna be a whale.
And then they defeat him by throwing something in his blowhole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, man. I got a lot of time for Seth Rogen, but that definitely happened with like a huge fucking blunt.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, I think I like Seth Rogen when he's in a movie.
Yeah.
I like when Seth Rogen is producing and writing something. I don't particularly like pure Seth Rogen projects like Pineapple Express or something like that.
That's
like
fine.
They're just too, or even like
they're stoner. They're very stoner movie-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the food fucking movie? Whatever the fuck that shit is.
Food fucking movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like all the products in the grocery store are like.
Oh yeah, the like grocery store movie. What the fuck was that? That was so fucking terrible.
It's so bad.
I don't even want to look it up. I just want to refer to it as the food fucking movie.
It's the food
like
fucking movie.
Back in the day, like I had a certain place for stoner style movies, like classics like PCU or
sure.
beloved things like Grandma's Boy, and like Pineapple Express has its moments, but like I'm with you. It was kind of like the tail end of my patience level for a lot of that shit, and he rode that last wave of that.
I feel like those movies are a little too self-indulgent. They're like enjoying the smell of your own farts kind of a thing.
Yeah, dude. I remember like Hot Tub Time Machine for me was just like I just can't. I just fucking can't. For example.
Yeah. Grandma's Boy, Up in Smoke, shit like that.
There's some classics in the space, no doubt.
I can dig that.
Oh.
Sausage Party, that's it. Yeah.
Because there was like This Is the End. I think maybe that's the one I'm thinking about. I just fucking hated it so much.
Yeah, I didn't even finish that. Straight up. I did not even finish that one. So, I agree. There's
only so much of it that you can put up with. And thankfully, there wasn't too much of that here. But I think you make an excellent point where the whale thing kind of was that.
Yeah, it had it stank of Seth Rogen for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I have no idea. But It seemed like it to me. No, I love the guy. Like, when you're talking like him in 40-Year-Old Virgin, or when you're talking like, him like producing something like Preacher, or, being involved with that. Like, there's a certain amount, like if he's tempered in a way with other people, it seems like you get a great outcome. If there's somebody there, be like, dude, that's okay. Put the joint down. That's like,
chill, man. Here's a cinnamon bun. Sit down.
If there's somebody there to like reel him in a little bit, or like point him in a direction, like it seems to go better than when it's like purely him doing stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just
for whatever that's worth.
It's like, just like how we talked about the kind of thread of movies having that frantic nature, the Everything Everywhere conversation we had earlier, like that style of comedy is kind of run its course, like I feel like that thread is ended, and people still make some movies in that space and like fine, whatever, but I don't have a lot of patience for that kind of stuff. And to your point, like he can bring some shit to another not stoner movie that I enjoy. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Yeah. And like you said, also he's doing tons of producing of good shit too. So yeah, there's plenty of haters of this dude out there, and I just like he's done enough good stuff where like I think that's pretty silly.
No, I genuinely like the guy, and he seems like he would be fun to hang out with.
Yeah, like he's real. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think the whale thing was dumb as shit, and it just had its funny bits, like they get the gun off the Akira bike and like shoot it, and like the one horse falls off, like this just some really dumb stuff that I was just like chuckling about, and then it had the setup for the city to, the population helps them get the thing into the blowhole, which is like cliche as fuck, but like, I don't know. You're just rooting for the kids at that stage, getting to be accepted. And there's that like moment where the dude walks up on Splinter, and it's similar to when the dude got beat Splinter down, like there's that inversion of that. So who I think was fucking Mr. Beast, which is the stupidest shit ever.
Dude. Yes.
Like another thing is Mr. Beast, but like, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Mr. Beast Times Square guy. Whatever the fuck that is.
Okay, man. But yeah, I'm down with it. Like, you needed something. I don't know. Like, an alternative would be like a boss battle with Superfly in the city. I don't know. Like the fight in the warehouse at the end where just before he turns into the whale, like feels like it would have been going out with a whimper. You need a kaiju, dude.
No, it was totally, it was fine. And the, cheesy as it is, the like city coming together to help them, like, and April O'Neil like taking over the newscast to be like, no, everybody, it's not the turtles, it's the kaiju. Like they're trying to help, and like everybody being like, oh, okay. Like that whole thing, I mean, that is definitely a trope where like the person gets on like the radio or the TV and is like, no, everybody listen to me, you gotta believe me, these guys are good, it's not them, it's the other guy, like that. Yeah, that whole thing like is definitely cheesy as fuck, but it works really well here. And
totally.
Yeah, it's
like a Christmas movie. Christmas movies have happy endings. Like, you're not going to have a bad ending to a Christmas movie. Like, you're going to have it, and that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, they did it with heart, and it worked. It worked. I don't know why it worked here as well.
I don't know why it works, but it worked. That's a good way to put it.
It really worked. Yeah, I guess a lot of that, the other component there is like you're just really rooting for the turtles to be accepted, Yeah. Like you want them, you want everybody to be like, yeah, we like you guys. You guys are cool.
Totally. Did you see the Mario movie?
The one with
Chris Pratt or whatever.
Chris Pratt? No, I have not seen it.
Yeah. So like, obviously I'm a little bit more steeped in these types of movies just because my kids have watched the Mario movie 55 times, but
sure.
It's very, very similar in a lot of ways. Like there's tons of call outs, all the obvious shit. There's no fucking, like it's a nothing movie. Like there's just, oh no, the Bowser, we should stop him. And then like, okay, you know, and then like at the end, it's like montage, Mario Kart, montage, jumping and hitting a brick. Yay. And then at the end, it's like Bowser's in the real world. It's like almost exactly the same as this. Like it's minus the Gaiju, but it's like they're coming together and then Mario and Luigi aren't idiots and the city thinks they're cool. So it's the same thing, almost literally.
Yeah.
And this is just handled so much better. Like I didn't hate the Mario movie. Like I don't give a fuck. Like whatever. I went and saw it in the theater with the kids. They loved it. Great, cool. It was perfectly fine. Made $1 billion fucking dollars. It's a shame this didn't make $1 billion. I mean, they're different scales of franchise, so like that was probably always going to be the case. But
yeah, sure.
So much heart here, man, and like a little bit with Mario, for example. And I don't know. At the end of the day, like I'm glad that they risk is, I mean, I suppose they did take a risk here by being true to the IP and like true to their vision of being teenagey and funny. And like, I think people like Rogan would have helped massage this through the studio, not fucking it up, hopefully.
Yes.
And as a result, like it made 1/5 of the amount of money as Mario, but it's 5 times better than Mario. You know what I mean? So like, kudos for that.
It'll get it on the back end.
Don't watch Mario. Yeah, they'll get on the back end. And the toys haven't sold well, at least here, like, which is interesting because that's a huge part. And like, you would have probably seen the Toys That Made Us episode on the Turtles, or if not that, then some of the other ones. But like, these guys that put Turtles together had no idea that it was going to turn into what it turned into, and it was just like mega toys. And the toys for this were really fucking cool, man. They had some really cool play sets. They had like the sewer play set was really big, like the, you know, half the size of a desk and like really fucking cool. And they had like a really cool pizza van that was, you know, like really, really sweet toys, but they were expensive, you know, like, yeah, $150 or $200 for like a play set. It's like, I would totally get this and my kid would love it, but like, I just can't I'm not spending $150 on that. And I think everyone had that same opinion because they're just like sitting there on the toy shelves with fucking sale signs on them, you know. And it's interesting because that's such a huge component of this franchise. So
I don't know. Maybe that's the problem was the price.
Maybe, and it's weird. Like Ninja Turtles were weird in the 90s. Like a 90s fucking Bob Dole fucking parent being like, "What? Turtles that eat pizza? No, we're gonna get G.I. Joes because fucking America." Like I could totally see the confusion around that, and therefore I can see like why it would be cool to like the Turtles as a kid, where you're like, my parents don't want me to play with this, but they're cool, you know. And here they were just like, it's so stylized, it's almost not made for kids; it's made for us. Because they had like the whale final boss Gaiju toy, and it's like, you see this toy and it's the size of like, I don't know, it's a stupid comparison, but it's the size of a watermelon. Like it's a big toy, but it's like this weird fucking giraffe nosed whale with fucking horse leg toy. Like,
yeah, doesn't translate well
like,
to a toy.
Ethan's playing with that and my daughter's crying in the corner because it's terrifying. You know what I mean? Like it kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a toy perspective, which I'm fine with, but that's always been a huge draw of the movie is the toy ability of it, you know? So I don't know.
Ooh, the Mutant Mayhem Ninja Kick Cycle is pretty dope.
Yeah, there's some cool shit. There was some really cool shit. Like if I was a toy style, like nerdy toy collector, I probably would have, you know, considered picking up some of this stuff just because of how it's kind of like how cool the Todd McFarlane stuff was. Like obviously the McFarlane stuff was a completely different hyper realistic thing, but like they're really cool stylized versions of the Turtles, and the playsets are really quite stylized. So like there's some cool shit there, but it just didn't sell, it seems, you know. I'm really glad they got the second movie greenlit though. It would have been a real shame if it, you know, sizzled into a little bit of a fart and they didn't, because I think they'll probably have the same result with the second one where it doesn't make billions, but like I'm glad they're getting another shot at bat.
No, I'm looking forward to it.
So it was a very rambly thing about toys, but hopefully there was something there.
I mean, I'm looking at the selection on Walmart.com, and they're all really highly rated, but they don't have a shit ton of ratings, you know.
Sure.
It's like somewhere between 500 and 50 people rating a thing, but they're all like 5 stars. So whoever has them
and
digs
it's like
them.
it's like 50 ratings or 500 ratings 18 months after the movie, which is like you're getting to the long tail of them being viable. People are just going to stop buying them. I mean, maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. I just remember watching, I think it was a Toys That Made Us, but it was something like that where it was talking about like the buy cycles of the turtles, where it was like it would pop off for a year and then it would taper really fucking hard and they'd have to come out with something else to make it pop off again,
Yeah.
From just like a business cycle point of view. So hence how many times they put out some bullshit. So it kind of explains why there was so much, rebooty bullshit and Bay style movie getting funded to push the toys. Because like you said, the whole reason I started talking about the toys is you were saying it's like they get it in the back end. It's like you break even on the movie and you make millions in fucking toy sales or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd be fucking pumped if I was 7 years old playing with those toys. I'd be like, hell yeah, dude. They're cooler than a lot of other toys out there.
Yeah. Shit. I don't know that about toys anymore, but I still collect the ones I used to play with.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. Bits, boobs. Bits and April O'Neil boobs.
I definitely dug the, they go to try and bust Superfly, and then like they realize that they're all mutants, and they like have like a kumbaya like come together moment, and the whole like bowling alley scene and all that was like I enjoyed that little bit.
Totally. Kind of unexpected, but kind of makes total sense. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And that goes right into the which I imagine you had a huge chuckle with the Four Non Blondes into the He-Man Four Non Blondes.
Yes. I almost forgot about that. Could be a more
perfect use of that fucking song, man. Oh my god, that
would be the Bob right there. Like that would be the bit. Like
oh my god, dude.
And I was like,
forgotten about it.
So when they initially played it, I was like, oh, it'd be funny if they did the fucking Fabulous Secret Powers version of this, and they fucking did. I was floored. I actually watched that whole video after I watched the movie because I had
love
to.
It, dude. You have to. It's just such a perfect example of like someone steeped in internet culture bringing the magic. Like like there couldn't be a better placement for that song than a bunch of mutants chasing each other in a city. Like it was just so fucking perfect. I completely forgot that it came in too. Like I saw it in the theater and I would have been pumped in the theater, but it's been so long that I just totally forgot. And the Four Non Blondes song, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that they all sing and that's kind of funny. And then it kicked in and I was like head bobbing and like, fuck yeah, So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's like, I don't know that a lot of internet meme, stuff like that has been pulled into movies. Or I feel like if it has, it's been kind of cringy, but like this was chef's kiss, perfectly done.
Really was, man.
And it's great to see something like a just goofy fucking meme that I love like that being brought into something that's a pretty big deal, like that.
Huge.
Other people may have never heard that before now know it exists.
That's it.
They're probably like, what was that? What was that like weird remix of Four Non Blondes? And they like look it up, and then like the next thing you know, they're watching He-Man. Like
that's it. Oh my god, do I pray? And then I like it was like original Four Non Blondes into the He-Man Four Non Blondes, and like it could have just been left at that. But then it cuts back to them in the warehouse, and like Post Malone as the Ray is like singing an acoustic version of it for a minute. Yeah. It was just like, oh my god, they handled it so well, dude. I don't know. I completely forgot about it, and when it kicked in, I was A, pumped, and B, pumped for you, because I was like, Higo is gonna fucking love this, dude.
Yep.
So that's great.
I indeed did. I almost completely forgot about it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like one of the best bits and bobs, period. The other one that I think is worth chucking out there is the, was it Leatherhead? Is that Leatherhead, who they changed into a girl here from Australia, which I could give a fuck about. I saw some dude who's like, Leatherhead is a guy and he's not from Australia. And it's like, yeah, whatever, dude. But when they when she brings out the bloomin' onion, it was just the best EBD call out ever. So shout out to the bloomin' onion. I fucking love it. It was so great.
Yeah, I'm sure the critical drinker hated this.
Oh yeah, fuck him. Fuck that guy. The
Fuck that guy.
It's like he said though, the bro moments with them meeting up with the mutants, like it's another great example of another piece that adds to the overall thing being magic. It's just like I don't know. The broiness of all the mutants and like all their silliness and shenanigans, and they fight each other. They hang out and play bowling, then they have to fight each other. Like, come on, dude, don't do it, man. You know, and then they have to like chase them down. And then it comes good at the end. Like they're just, I don't know. I love that family unit, the misfit family unit. And then it, culminates in the end when they send the kids to school and fucking Stinkbug's got an apron on and like Bebop and Rocksteady are like moving couches around the lair and shit. Like, it's just so dumb, but I want to hang out in that fucking lair with those idiots. It would just be hilarious.
Yeah. And again, in any other movie, it would be like, oh, this is so fucking cheesy and dumb and
exactly
saccharine, but it didn't feel that way here. Like
it didn't. No,
for whatever reason, like they just presented it correct. They just presented it right. Yeah, like I don't know. Like I guess when you care, right? Like they did a good job of making you care about these characters. And
even Esposito, like you said, he was in there for like 2 minutes, and like he loved those fucking little mutants so much, dude. And like he was obviously kind of a fucked up, broken dude who was lonely. Like there was, in like a minute, that fucking dude communicated so much heart, man. Like I don't know. There's just like you said, you care about them, care about the characters.
Yeah.
And like there are those moments, like Superfly, like Ice Cube did a great job, man. I don't know. He brought a lot of Ice Cubiness to it. And like you could say that he just played himself, which like I don't give a shit. That's fine. But I just love the swagger he had. And then when he sees the turtles, he's like, "Oh shit, right on, man!" Like even he's kind of like pumped about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, even he is jovial and happy.
Yeah. Any other bits? Let me think. The pizza van.
Pizza van. I was going to say it was cool to see the pizza van, even though it was short-lived before it got.
Yeah, I love me a pizza. I love me the Turtles pizza van. It's like one of the most iconic toys of the era.
Yeah, it was a cool version too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and just for whatever reason, the line it was like, "I eat pizza with little bits of waffles on it." It sounds better than it is. And the neighbor was like, "That actually does sound pretty good." I don't know, man. Just the pizza thing is fucking hilarious.
I was actually like. I was like, what if you made a waffle, but then you made a pizza on the waffle?
You could totally do it, dude. Like we got this cool waffle maker, man. Like we were talking about making waffles a couple years ago, and there's this like waffle maker that's vertical.
Whoa.
And so it like clips closed and has like a funnel at the top, and you pour the batter in, and it makes like a fucking sick Belgian waffle.
Whoa.
It's so fucking cool, dude. Like it's world changing for waffles, and like you can make this awesome fucking waffle out of it. And you could, I feel like the sugar that gets added to the Belgian waffle, I feel like a sugary base could be good with the right kind of pizza. Because like sometimes people put sugar in like a tomato sauce for some of their spaghettis and stuff. Like I feel like you could do something interesting. I wonder if you'd do like a drier tomato base, so it's not like a really wet and fill up the squares kind of thing, but kind of like a tomato pasty version of a sauce with. Dude, I'm in. Let's do it. It's like it's the equivalent of people that started doing like donut burgers and shit.
I mean, yeah, exactly, right. And people have chicken and waffles and stuff. So like,
dude, chicken and waffles is great.
You can do the savory and the sweet.
Yeah, you're onto something, man.
Fuck it, I'm gonna try it. Yeah, get one of those waffle makers.
You should, dude. They're fucking cool, man. I'm telling you, it's the best possible way to make a waffle. We actually have brought that fucking thing car camping. Like in the morning, you just like plug it into the little fucking wood post that's in the middle of your spot.
Yeah,
it was fucking cool.
Nice.
I think Michelangelo would approve.
He would, of course, he would. He'd eat the shit out of that.
He'd eat the shit out of it, man. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe like shout out to like the like teenage yearning to be part of the world Ferris Bueller rooftop, watching people kind of like be buddies on the fucking outdoor cinema stuff. Like there's some heartfelt moments in some of those scenes too.
Yeah. I just like that the movie in the park was Ferris Bueller, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like the parade scene. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yep. I don't know. I feel like this is the kind of movie where you could bits and bobs for like an hour just remembering the little things, because there's just, like you said earlier, there's so many little things and they all add up. I'm glad there was no sewer surfing scene like in the Megan Fox Turtles.
Yes.
And then maybe to end on a high note for me, it was the another shout out to the fucking love affair with the stink bug.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the payout on like Splinter just being like, you know, there's no female mutants out there to date. Trust me, I've looked. You know,
but he's also just like, I think she's kind of attractive. You know, it's like,
man,
Dad.
and, you know, next thing you know, he's like, oh, fuck it, you know.
I love it, dude. And he's just like, I don't know. It's like that gross mom and dad kissing freaks out the kids thing trope again. And any other movie would be eye rolly, and in this, it's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
All in all, rock solid outing, sir.
Yeah, man. Thanks for suggesting this. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Like,
I'm glad you did, man. I'm glad you did.
Yeah. It's one of the more enjoyable movies I've seen in the past, like, couple months, anyways. And I've seen a couple good ones, but this was up there.
Sure. I love it. I love that it hit. Because, like, I was kind of a little worried that it wouldn't hit because, like, I had so much, like, my kid's so into this, so I'm so into this kind of, like...
Sure.
I didn't know how much of that was coming across and whether it was just kind of a plain Jane kind of a attempt, but I'm glad that you dug it.
Yeah, very good.
Excited for the next one. I don't have any nugs. Yeah. Probably is music to your fucking ears.
that definitely got no nugs.
Deaths, you had a delightful death. I think I said the word delightful.
Yeah, I waded right into that pool for sure.
And then we definitely both, I'm just saying we definitely both died with the turtle lore, not knowing the origins of the ooze confidently enough to where we wouldn't get yelled at by a bearded neck.
Yes.
I look forward to getting yelled at. And then recommendations, I mean, I think it can go without saying, but.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely check this out. No, I'm not a neck beard level turtles aficionado. So I will accept any scolding or correcting that comes from the community.
I think the only thing that I've ever been neckbeardy about, that's not true. I'm neckbeardy about everything. The main thing I was neckbeardy about was Star Wars, and I've just given up so much on that like I just feel like I can't do it anymore. I can't do the neckbeard shit anymore. I just can't. I don't have time for it. I don't have patience for it. I don't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you said earlier. Make the thing, and hopefully it's good. And if it's not, better luck next time.
Yeah.
Just can't curmudgeon out anymore. So feel free to call me out on it every time I curmudgeon, because I do it all the time. But yeah, recommendations. Like, if you missed this one, it's very much worth checking out. Yeah, it's very much worth checking out.
Yeah, it's again, like if you enjoyed Spiderverse, this isn't very far off from that.
Not at all, yeah.
It's got a similar kind of vibe. It's really good. I'm psyched about like the sort of prospect of some really cool, high quality new animated material out there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We talked about like how excited we were for longer format shows coming in to take the lead away from trilogy movies, and how interesting TV shows were going to be and how much new space they could explore. And 3 years later, like, kind of, but I feel like the animation space is really where boundaries are being pushed, and I'm super on board.
Absolutely.
What was the other flick we were going to do?
I don't remember now.
I wrote it down, but don't think it was Nobody, was it? No, I don't think it was.
It was Nobody.
Was it?
I think it was. We were definitely talking about it.
Yeah. Have you seen that one? I think you did say you did.
I did.
Is it worth a show? Or is it another reboot franchise trope fest? Like, I'm sure Odenkirk's good in it and stuff, but
yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a different kind of a thing for Odenkirk, and it was very like
definitely.
I don't know. It's just one of those movies where like I was in a shitty mood and I watched it and I was like, yes, you know.
Okay. Beekeeper style.
It was just,
all right.
I was just like, oh yeah, I'm just loving watching people get laced up by Bob Odenkirk right now. You know, it's just like
totally
it's violent and the fighting is like mean and dirty and like, you know, like
all right.
some But I don't actually remember a lot about it, but I do remember just being like I was in a shitty mood and I watched it and I was like,
I like it. I like that it changed your mood.
The perfect thing to like sort of soothe that or, you know, play it out, you know, without.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else in mind or you want to do that? That sounds like a pretty decent go.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sweet. So next week we're doing Nobody with Odenkirk, another movie that I missed at the time that I've heard is worth checking out. So hopefully it's as worth checking out as this one. It sounds like it is.
Let's do it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for Turtles. And we'll see you next week for Nobody. See you later.
Ciao.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode, folks. I think just, you know, we talk about the same thing on these, like Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But like, first and foremost, we love you and really appreciate you guys listening. And I cannot tell you how much fun it's been talking to everybody over the years and getting so much engagement with us over the nerdy shit we talk about. So I would love to continue building up this like friend group that we have and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Like it means so much to chat with you guys on a weekly basis. And if you could get some more of your friends involved, that'd be cool too. So, you know, please spread the word. You can hit us up on the grams.
Spread the word.
Spread the word. You can hit us up on the grams. We talk a lot on Instagram at EBD Podcast. We pretty much have accounts on all social media, but hit us up wherever. We'll get to you at some stage, but we're most responsive on Instagram at the moment. If you want to check out the more info about this episode, you can go to ebd.fm/episodes/276. Anyway, you want to chat with us. We've been playing around on YouTube a little bit, but we would just love to stay in touch. We'd love the word to be spread. You can hit us up on Patreon, same thing, at EBD Podcast or patreon.com/EBD Podcast or some shit. And thanks again for joining us for Turtles, and we'll see you next week for Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk's Vengeance. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Episode, everybody dies.
Beady. Stop into it.